artists of the Renaissance period used different tools to tell stories within their work. By using different visual devices, the artist can create a deeper meaning within their work. One of the devices that was often used to depict women was use of floral and natural elements. By focusing on how women are represented with plants, we can learn how the connection forms some great works of art. In this project, we will explore these connections. The Annunciation, painted by Sandro Botticelli in 1490, is currently held at the Uffizi Gallery in Florence, Italy. The Annunciation depicts the interaction of the angel and Mary when she is told she will be carrying the child. The angel is seen holding a lily that depicts not only the angel's goodwill, but also the Madonna's virginity. The view of the courtyard in the background depicts the Madonna's virginity as something bright and something to be cherished. By using the different aspects of plants in this painting, Botticelli is able to create a deeper story and meaning to the woman in the painting.
The Birth of Venus, painted by Sandro Botticelli in 1485, is located in the Uffizi Gallery in Florence, Italy. Botticelli captivated the people's attention at the time not only because of his beautiful images, but because his art themes and subjects were different than they were before. Instead of being religious focused, they were creative and made for pleasure. The Birth of Venus completely shifted Western art because it was the first large image of a nude woman that was not being sinned or shamed. She was the Greek goddess of love and beauty, Aphrodite. The origin story of the painting traces back to ancient Greek mythology when the god Saturn castrated his father Uranus and threw his genitals into the sea. From this, Venus emerged from the sea film as the beautiful and fully formed goddess Venus, also known as Aphrodite. However, the scene in the painting takes place a little bit after this, when Venus arrives in Cyprus on a seashell. On the far left is Zephyr, the warm spring winds, blowing her towards the shore. He is holding his wife, Chloris, who is blowing golden hearts towards her as well. These very pretty pink roses, each with a gold heart, have fallen around them. On the right is a woman ready to welcome and cover Venus with a red cloth covered in daisies. The woman's dress is covered in cornflowers and primroses, and she's standing over anemones. These are all summertime flowers, indicating the season. This relates to our theme of women and plants because the flowers further symbolize love and beauty, just like our goddess. The flowers also make the atmosphere feel more real and natural, helping achieve some level of realism. Aphrodite had been painted by Botticelli twice before, once in the Primavera and once in Venus and Mars. The Birth of Venus is significant because it was the first nude image, although she is posing modestly with her right hand covering her breast and her left hand hiding her lower side. The pose inspired many other painters to pose women the same way. Botticelli might have been inspired by a statue in his Patron, the Medici family's collection, of a woman posing in a similar way. In comparison to naked men at this time, women posed much more reserved, trying to hide their bodies, while men stood full of pride.
The significance of this painting to our theme, the representation of women and plants in art, is that the main subject of the painting is a woman, the Virgin Mary, who represents purity and motherhood, and she is surrounded by flowers that complement this symbolism. The majority of the flowers in this painting are white, which is a color that in Western cultures symbolizes purity and innocence. A prominent, the biggest and perhaps the most eye-catching, flower depicted is the white lily, and that flower symbolizes virginal innocence, purity of the soul and chastity, as well as the Virgin Mary herself. It can also symbolize the sovereignty of kings and power. This is an on-the-nose flower to be presented because the Virgin Mary, as mentioned before, is a symbol of purity, and in the painting, Mary is being crowned as Queen of Heaven, right after being assumed by Jesus and God. The assumption of Mary in the Catholic Church is that when she died, quote, her body was assumed into heaven to be reunited with her soul instead of going through the natural process of physical decay upon death, end quote. She was essentially reborn into heaven, which shows the life-encompassing power of God and how being the mother of Jesus and a devoted follower of God made her get bestowed with a position of power in heaven. Another highly featured flower is the peony. and its main meaning is honor, a concept associated with Mary, and it is especially important in the context of the painting because she is being honored with the crown and the title of Queen of Heaven. Two less conspicuous yet noticeable flowers are the lily of the valley and carnation. The lily of the valley is intertwined with Christianity because they are mentioned in the Bible as a representation of the purity and humility of Jesus Christ, but they are also interpreted as a return of happiness, which Mary is experiencing in the painting, as she is being swiftly reunited with Jesus and God. The other flower, the carnation, is also intertwined with Christianity, because according to some Christian legend, carnations bloomed where Mary cried when seeing Jesus carry his cross, so they became a symbol of motherly love. Separate from the Christian legend, they represent divine love, which can also be applied, as Mary loved God and Jesus in a divine way.
The Primavera by Sandro Boccelli is currently being held at the Uffizi Gallery in Florence, Italy. This piece of art features a total of 9 different figures, 2 of which are men and the other 6 are women. Each character in the painting plays a different role in the story being told. From right to left labeled, there is Zephyrus, Chloris, Flora, Venus, the 3 Graces, Mary and Cupid, which are located above Venus. The setting of the painting is in an orange grove. Through studying the painting, our historians have found a total of 190 different types of paint throughout. Each of the plants are native to the Florentine countryside and bloom between March and May. This represents spring in Florence, the overall theme of the painting. The story conveyed throughout the painting is the different aspects of the season spring working together. The painting is believed to be read from the right to left to convey the myth of Primavera. The story begins at the right side of the painting with Zephyrus and Chloris. Zephyrus, who represents the cold winter air, is shown abducting Chloris. As the story goes on, he abducted her and made her into a goddess. He then forced her to change her name to Flora. This change is represented by the flowers spilling from the goddess's mouth. As the story continues, we see Flora standing adorned in a light-colored gown covered in various flowers. She is depicted scattering the flowers around her. This symbolizes springtime and fertility. In the center of the painting, we see the goddess Venus standing with her son Cupid flying above her. Venus is shown surrounded by nature, almost framing her. She represents protection and the care for the institution of marriage. This relates to who commissioned the painting, which was created for the marriage of Lorenzo di Perfeanzio de' Medici as a gift for his new bride. By placing Venus in the center of the orange grove surrounded by flowers, Botticelli showed the connection of the marriage of the two. By surrounding the goddess of marriage of love and beauty by the fruit that symbolizes the Medici family, he showed how marriage was bringing the families together.